I was just on a call with Dennis Yu and Jack Wendt. We were working on a book that we have coming up, which is going to be the complete guide on Google Knowledge Panels for local service business owners, founders, entrepreneurs, etc. And right now I'm kind of stuck on the cover. I don't know exactly which way to go on it. But Dennis brought up something that really stuck with me and that really broke me out of this, cycle of being stuck. And originally it was a quote, which was, something along the lines of a picture is worth more than 1,000 words, right? We've all kind of heard that. However, the way that it applies here, which he broke down very in depth, was that, I could take this entire book and, the book does a good job. It does a very good job of explaining all of the steps on how these local service business owners can either do these steps themselves, they can deploy a young adult to do it for them, and then eventually, all these trust signals come together to form a Google Knowledge panel. However, if the person reading it, whether that's, again, whoever, can't visually understand what's going on, then it's just, not helpful and they're not going to see the value in it. And so, Dennis brought up some examples on how we could portray the cover, such as like, a really rich man's, you include things like gold and, fancy clothes and all that, looking in a lake. But then in the lake, which is like supposed to, represent a mirror, they're seeing, murky water. They're not really seeing themselves. They're seeing confused things, which is kind of what these local service business owners and anyone often see when they're searching their name on Google because they don't truly own it. They've got a bunch of conflicting entities and search results and stuff like that. And so just kind of breaking out of this box of just thinking like, how do we make a Google Knowledge panel, look good on a cover instead of just thinking, on such a surface level like that, thinking about what the people or the intended audience is going to, what is going to help them understand the core concept of this book, not just the surface level of like Google Knowledge panel, but instead what they're truly getting out of this and why it truly is important and applies to them. And so, seriously, this was one of the like greatest things I've ever heard this year. This wasn't like a training call or anything like that, but Dennis is just constantly providing so much great wisdom like this. And so I just thought I had to come on here and share with you guys. Let me know what other ideas you guys have for how you would go about this. But I'm super excited to get to work on this now. So let me know what you guys think.